sovereignty is a critical issue for developing countries, and it requires urgent attention as the climate crisis intensifies. The World Health Organization reports that around 733 million people faced hunger in 2023, with 1 in 5 individuals in Africa affected. The latest Food Security and Nutrition Report indicates we are far from achieving Sustainable Development Goal SDG 2, aiming for zero hunger by 2030. In Ghana, approximately 1.05 million people experienced food insecurity from June to August 2024, highlighting the need for immediate action. In northern Ghana, climate change has led to extreme weather conditions that adversely affect farmers' livelihoods. Smallholder women farmers in particular seem to be more vulnerable to the impact of climate change than their male counterparts. The exclusion and marginalization of women in decision-making and resource management have created disparities in their ability to cope with and adapt to climate change. Additionally, the effects of climate change on farmlands have increased their reliance on chemical fertilizers usage. ActionAid Ghana has over the past 3 decades worked and advocated for climate-resilient, sustainable agriculture to support women farmers to better withstand the dredging impact of climate change. Under the new country strategy paper, AAG affirms its commitment to promoting green economy, agriculture and food sovereignty by empowering communities, especially women, youth and marginalized people, to assert their rights and advance their solutions for adaptation, resilience, agroecology and disaster risk reduction.
My name is Abiba Nabaradon. I'm the Regional Program Manager of ActionAid in the Upper West region.
As an organization, we are currently implementing the 7th country strategy paper. And under this 7th country strategy paper, we have a strategic priority area 1 that looks at green economy and resilient livelihood. So the aspect around composting falls within this strategic priority area and narrowed down to a particular focus area. So within that strategic priority area, there are 5 focus areas. And the number 1 is looking at agroecology and food sovereignty. So it is in line with this specific focus area of we promoting agroecology and food sovereignty that our advocacy work and interventions around composting.
My name is Muhammad Salifu, the Municipal Director of Agric for Sisala East Municipality. Agroecology is the natural relationship between the plants and animals in their natural environment. So they live symbiotically, depend on each other. So all these animals we see, the plants we see, we all have some contribution that we relate to make the earth a living place for all of us. So with the extension of one, you then see that the ecology is not balanced, and you then see other adverse effects of this happening in our daily lives.
According to the Sisala East Directorate of the Department of Agriculture, excessive use of agrochemical fertilizers destroys the natural ecosystem.
The major chemical fertilizer we use, they are the NPK, and that's the compound one. And then the single phase, the nitrogen-based fertilizers such as the urea and sulfate of ammonia, the phosphorus fertilizer and the potassium-based fertilizers. And this chemical fertilizer, even though their effect is quick on the plants, but they destroy the soil structure. For instance, if you continuously use this NPK, particularly the high nitrogen the fertilizers, they make the soil acidic in nature. And when the soil becomes more acidic, the plants are not able to take in nutrients from the soils again. And when you then go to the farm and you see it very bare, and a lot of plants can no longer grow without bringing the chemical fertilizer again to support.
Farming communities now experience long drought spells, flooding, and erratic rainfall. Through AAG capacity building, smallholder women farmers have been empowered and resourced to produce solutions in the form of compost production. Today, smallholder women farmers in the Upper West region have, in groups, resorted to fighting the menace through agroecological practices, including compost. Madam Abiba explains further about the training.
ActionAid has actually supported over 100 communities across Jerapa, Lambusie, Laura, Wa East, and Sisala East on numerous agroecology practices. And one of such is composting. And the objective is to actually promote and advocate for more farmers to embrace the practice of agroecology and also the use of compost on their farms.
In Sentu, some smallholder women farmers, SHWF, benefited from AAG's compost production. Today, their source of livelihood has been boosted thanks to AAG's timely support.
My name is Teza B. Maxwell, an extension officer in the Lambusie district, Mufa, and I'm working with the Department of Agric. Here we are today. We produce compost. It's organic farming. When you are into compost, that means you are producing a manure that is chemical free. And the process started by digging the pit, where the women were trained on how to dig the pit. Then how to assemble the materials, both the green materials and then the brown materials, which they were explained on the importance of each of the material. Then the cow dung or any animal dropping were also introduced, and which were also elaborated on the importance. And the ash, the materials were gathered. Then the compost processing were taken by placing them on compost bin, and we call them layers. You know, the bin is the full compost pack, but the layer is the steps in which the compost, when we are preparing each layer, after that we have a process. Then after the compost were prepared, we allow them for 2 to 3 weeks. We come and turn. We turn them until they become the normal compost. That is the fertilizer, which we tested by using a white rubber bag to see whether it was well decomposed. And the testing was done looking at it. When you put it in the rubber bag for 10 to 15 minutes, if there are no sweating bubbles on the rubber bag, that means they were well composed and cool. Good. Then when it was cool, we allowed them, well decomposed, we allowed them to cool for at least 1 to 2 weeks.
Having completed the preparation of the compost, the smallholder women farmers, with the support of the trainer, applied it on their farm. Maxwell again.
Just the compost preparation that we carry on since today is the application. And the method we use in the compost application today is the side band placement, because the land is flat. If it's the place where the land is not flat, we use the ring method, or we dug a little the dibble and bury it. But because the side is flat and the moisture content too is good, we did the side band placement. And on Syria, if it is, we look at the stand, the plant per stand. And when we realize that plant per stand are 3 each or 4, we then apply 3 handful per stand. But if it was on legume, it is 1 handful. If it is tomatoes and the others like vegetable, it is 2 handful per stand.
In spite of the long drought spell, the crop was not affected much, according to the extension officer.
2024, the rain pattern is not good. It's affected a lot of crops. But you know, as the nature of compost is served as even as a mulching material, you know, that one protect the impact of the drought somehow better than a bare land or those who apply fertilizer. You know, a fertilizer needs a lot of moisture before it, but compost, it just needs a little moisture to react. When it's even turned into the soil, it protects the soil from heat or even the ray of sun.
After several years of training, the smallholder women farmers say they can now produce their own compost for their farms.
My name is Dr. Elizabeth. I'm a farmer from Jirapa Municipal, Ulpo. They gave us training on how to make compost. They taught us how to collect grass, rabbits, whatever that we take our crops and left, we gather them together, addition to animal drugs, drops. So we use all this to make our own fertilizer. That is what we call compost. With this compost making, I'm making my fellow groups to also try. I even train some of the women how to make it, and this year some of them try it and they say it's good. The problem they complain to me is how to gather the rabbit. I say yes, the first time you see it to be difficult, but if you try it and you are used to it, it will be fine for you.
My name is Rafatu Ahmed. I have 5 children and I come from Sakai, Sisala East, and I am a farmer. Before we know compost is through ActionAid and ASODEF. They come and teach us how to do compost. When they come, they start with where we are supposed to do the compost, where there's no water running. That's where they show us. We start dig the hole, look for soya shells, and then granite, cow dung, and then fowl feces, and then green, like green that can rot.
ActionAid and MOFA believe compost use enhances agroecology.
When farmers embrace these practices and employ it on their farms, then it enhances crop yield, it also enhances soil health, and the produce that are obtained from these farms, also eaten by humans, improves our health as compared to adopting the use of chemicals, heavy use of sprays that end up destroying living organisms in the soil and leaving the soil bare and more porous, such that when farmers cultivate an acre, particularly around the Jirapa and Lambusia areas, an acre can be cultivated and a farmer just gets a basin or even at most 1 bag of maize. And you will wonder whether such harvest can feed the whole family throughout the year and still be able to sell some to buy other basic needs for the family, particularly for our rural communities who rely solely on agriculture as a source of occupation and feed for their families.
The benefits of using compost as against fertilizer is highly enormous. First, they enriches the soil. That makes us able to use the soil for production for a long time without depleting the soil structure and then texture. And then also, health-wise, organic-based production food are good for our health than the chemical-based. Anything synthetic, no matter what, has some effect on our health. So the natural base, which is the compost preparation, makes it more decent. It is even here that we do not put premium to organic production. But when you go to the Western world, anything that is produced organically has premium price for it.
The introduction of compost to smallholder women farmers in the beneficiary communities has reduced conflict between them and their husbands, according to the women.
So you want that I may fair say to that in the cool. Mana serza ti da kuolo aya so me California ze bili mi benate so wopo so ngame tie ga se o ngano iroto so ngame tie ola ngano me iroto so aha ka me tie ga se kan yetera aye chepotu no irono to so ngame tie ngame tera che me irepotu so homenya na ze bili me wara atepo aha achela wa ati bibi ka hulombori me acha me pen akote because if many na libi se na debi adeka na biblia for chef na de na aguni ayu asion na akwe hule dele da na ku le ala okone a nti ame na le how me bibi aye che compost ngana wa bena wuta compost ngamalo a ma mi ngatosa ina ati abmana mbalo asa yela nga zakpala akpala siwuri na akoma bela nyara asa ole je checha pliana wa dana ire yele yaga
The making of the compost make the family happy because normally when there's no fund for us to buy fertilizer, you have some small projects with your husband, and even if you give him your money to buy for you, he would rather chop it when it comes. Then you will have some small issues within the family. But now, because we have the compost, we know how to do the compost. When we do it, there's no more fight. We are happy and we know how to manage it now.
If you don't buy fertilizer and you use compost, you'll be able to save your money and you can use that money to benefit yourself. I used my money this year to buy my child's school practical things. My child is at Ulo Senior High and I was struggling to buy the practical equipment. So this year I was able to buy it. I just went and bought it, they're inside. And most of the time my health insurance, I was able to renew it too. And I still have some money in my pockets.
The smallholder women farmers have accepted to use compost as a substitute to chemical fertilizers. However, there are other agronomic practices they have to adopt.
For us to talk about sustainable farming practices, agroecology sits so perfectly in this regard. And agroecology moves beyond just composting. We also have tree plantation, we have mixed cropping, we have agroforestry and other practices, zero or minimal tillage. These are all types of forms of practices when it comes to talking about agroecology. All these women farmers we have worked with have come to appreciate and understand the numerous benefits of compost for their crop yield and then their soil health. And if compost plants are sited in each district and compost is produced, farmers who knows the benefit of compost can always run to this compost plant site to buy compost and then go to apply on their farm.
During the 2024 District Awards ceremony for Lambusie, Mary Mwinzume was awarded the district's Best Woman Farmer. This was in appreciation of her efforts in practicing agroecology.
Ayelunga ije yemengana na wa enya asawuli yela na wa zie yenu kuma dia water because be check na ay bon ko en kop ay tome lombori ina tone ay bon kware na kware soya, groundnut, maize, rice and groundnut asa kwele asana bedeka ni ay bon kwoli en don nesta kwele ina alezutome ina tone ntia alazana bede so rume emani to ndware ina tone ntia abena betu anye ademe ndia yuna a bet farmer.
The use of chemical fertilizer is still high among smallholder women farmers. However, Mr. Salifu urges farmers to consider the cost and health benefits of compost.
Some of the advantages is cost effective. Sometimes you might not even demand any costs to produce it. You only need the knowledge. because the materials are around us. Secondly, what you use the compost to produce gives a better health than relying on the inorganic fertilizer. Thirdly, it's environmental friendly. It is also human user friendly.
If you apply fertilizer on maize and if you apply compost on maize, if you taste them, what you use fertilizer will be different, and what you use on compost will be different. Compost one will have taste and scent on it, very nice one, but the fertilizer one you will not see any scent on it. And tomatoes too, the same. On tomatoes, when you put compost, you see it very fresh, but the fertilizer on, if you go to pluck them, you see them rotting, but the compost on, you see them very fresh and red.
But for Elizabeth, she has already made up her mind.
When I grind flour and I use a week, the flour will finish before the week. But this compost maize, I will grind the flour, we'll cook small and we'll eat, and it will be okay. And we're healthy too. This child was always sick, every day sick. I don't know. Sometimes you eat and say the stomach. I don't know what is happening. But this year, I've set example that yes, really the fertilizer is having problem.